before we get started, I want you guys to take 5 seconds to answer the following question. So, would you rather save money or feel motivated while paying off debt? Now, type it below. Just write money or motivation, and I'll be checking the comments to see what team you're on. And this whole video will explain the reason for my question. 5 seconds. Let's go. So for years, I struggled with debt. I had credit card debt, and then I had student loan debt. Now, at the time, I had searched up on YouTube how to become debt-free or how can I pay off my debt. And all I kept getting was use the debt snowball method or use the avalanche method. But let me tell you guys something that blew my mind. It might not blow your mind, but it blew mine, and that's why it blew away all my debt. So let's get into this example so you guys can kind of get an idea of where I'm coming from and why this is the best method for you to do in order to become debt-free. Okay, so we're gonna use the name Jane, right? Jane Doe. So let's use Jane as an example. So Jane owes Capital One $5,000, and her APR, which is her interest rate, is 24.99%. So APR for this credit card is 24.99%. Okay, let's move on. Now, Jane also has a Bank of America card. We're going to call it the BOA. So BOA. Now, for this credit card, Jane owes $3,000 and her APR is 19.99%. And then Jane also has student loan debt. So we're going to put student loan debt, right? And she owes $28,000, but her APR is only 5.5%. Now, if we add this up, let's see how much debt Jane has. So we're going to do 28,000 plus 3,000 plus 5,000. So Jane has a debt of $36,000. Her monthly minimum comes out to a total of $465. Monthly minimum is $465 for everything, right? Now, what can we do for Jane, right? In Jane's situation, we can see that her Capital One has a really high interest of 24.99%. And then her Bank of America is 19.99%, and her student loan is only 5.5%. Okay, so this is my plan for Jane, right? We're going to go ahead and draw a line here. We need to determine whether Jane wants to go with the avalanche method or the debt snowball or both. Now, you're probably wondering, wait, what do you mean both? Don't you have to choose between debt snowball and avalanche? Absolutely not. Okay, so this is what I was talking about, and this is why I had you guys answer the question, whether you would rather save money or feel motivated. Now, in this case for Jane, since her APR is so high for Capital One, we're going to go with the avalanche method first. It doesn't mean we're going to skip the debt snowball. It only means that we're going to tackle the highest interest first before we tackle anything else. Now, for the avalanche method, Jane is going to focus in the high interest first, and that's Capital One. She's going to continue making minimum payments for Bank of America and also student loan. So Jane realizes that she's making only minimum payments towards all her credit cards. And she's like, wait a minute, I'm very dedicated to paying off my debt. I need to bring in more money. So what does Jane do? She goes and does Uber Eats, DoorDash, and she brings in $200 extra every month. Now, so what's going to happen here? Instead of her putting only $125 towards minimum, towards her Capital One. She's adding that extra $200 for her Capital One, in which now she is making $325 towards her Capital One card. So with her making those payments of $325 every month, her projected payoff date will be within 19 months, so like a year and a couple of months. So in 19 months, she'll be done paying off this debt. Now, this can change if Jane decides that she wants to bring in more income, then that means she can put in more money towards her Capital One. Keep in mind, she will still make those minimum payments towards Bank of America and also her student loan. But her main focus right now is to pay off her Capital One. So with this being said, she'll be saving hundreds of dollars in interest. Why? Because she's tackling the debt with the highest interest rate. Now, after those 19 months are done and she's paid off her Capital One, this $325 that she was putting towards Capital One, she's going to roll it over to Bank of America. So I'm going to put here Capital One, and this is Bank of America. Now, the minimum payment she was making towards Bank of America was only for $90. So now, not only will she be making her minimum payment of $90, but she's taking her rollover money that she was using to pay off her Capital One to put it towards her Bank of America. Now, if we add this up, 325 plus 90 is a total of $425. So this amount will be added to her Bank of America credit card every month as a payment, including her APR. So which means that within the next 10 to 11 months, she'll be done paying off her Bank of America. So we're going to write here 10 months. This is where the debt snowball comes into play. So remember, we use the avalanche here to tackle the highest interest first for her Capital One and her Bank of America. And because her student loan APR is only 5.5, we leave that for last. So she used the avalanche method. Now she's going to move on to the debt snowball. When we see how much we owe in student loan, we're like, oh, we're never going to pay this off. We're never going to pay this off. So what do? You break it down into what they call fake mini loans. Remember that word, fake mini loans. What does that mean? You're going to break it up. And that is exactly how I paid off my student loan debt. It was by breaking it down. I'm going to insert a picture right here and you guys can see it where I owed over $35,000 in student loan debt. And I broke it down into student loan number 1, number 2, number 3, all the way up until 17. And I tackle each debt one by one. Because as long as you're tackling these debt as a whole, it would not motivate you. So the avalanche method was to save money. So she saved a ton of interest money here by paying off the debt with the highest interest rate. And then the debt snowball is to motivate you. So that is the reason why I asked you guys at the beginning of this video, which one would you rather? Save money or motivate? So in Jane's case, we're using both. She wants to save money, but she also wants to feel motivated. So Jane owes $28,000 in student loan debt, and now she needs motivation, right? So she can break this down to small fake mini loans. So one could be for $5,000, the next one can be for $7,000, and then one for $8,000, and then the other one for $8,000. And that is a total of $28,000. So what is she going to do here? Since her interest rate is only 5.5%, she can go ahead and tackle these one by one. So to wrap this up, never stick to just one method. Do both method. So if you have a credit card with high interest rate, use the avalanche method. Once you pay off these credit cards with high APR and you have your student loan, then that's when you go into the debt snowball method. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you on the next one. Love you. Bye.
You and I could run away now. You and I could be on our way. Pack our bags and take this love to a different place now.